everyone. My name is Brandon Faulkner. I'm an intern for VillageCore. For other events like this, be sure to check out villagecore.org or check out our YouTube channel where we upload these meetings in case you missed them. Today, we'll be discussing Humane AI PIN, which essentially brings the world of computers into your own hands and the world around you. So essentially what the Humane AI PIN does is it essentially gets rid of the need for an actual laptop, an actual desktop, a phone, a tablet, or anything like that, and brings a computer right to your chest or wherever you'd like it on your person. Now, what exactly is a Humane AI PIN? Well, it's simply a small device that can fit on a article of clothing through a magnet that is attached to it. And what it does is it can dictate certain things around you, and you can also program it to tell you specific things that you want to know about your life or about things that are going on inside your life. So I'll get into that a little bit later on in this presentation. So here, as you can see, we have the Humane AI PIN. It's not that big, but essentially it has a ton of computing power using AI generated software. So what I mean by this is that Humane wants to step away from using things like apps that are typically on app stores, Google Play, all those other app stores. Humane essentially wants to get rid of that. So Humane partners with companies like Microsoft, Google, ChatGPT, Slack, T-Mobile, and then also Tile in order to bring in experiences for you, in order to use these companies as a way for you to build stepping stones off of when you're using the Humane AI PIN. So essentially, what Humane does is with sensors and cameras located within the device, it gives you a realistic look at what you are doing around in the world. So if I were to, let's say I wanted to view a certain item and I'm holding that item in my hand, but I don't know a lot about it. Essentially, what I can do with Humane AI PIN is I can hold down a button and I can say, tell me a little bit about this item. And Humane, through its speakers, will notify me about the item. It'll tell me everything about the item and what I want to know. So this in front of us that I'm presenting currently is one of the features that Humane AI has. It's the touch and hold feature where you can ask and you can simply speak into the device and it'll let you know about the different things that you are looking at in front of you. Now, people are very skeptical about having a camera always in their face. But with the Humane AI presentation that they have recently done, they have specified clearly that Humane will not be on unless you dictate it to come on. So the way that this happens is through the process of simply using the touch feature along with your voice. So that essentially wakes up the camera and the camera is active. It also has what is called a security light on it. If we can see here, oh, let me go back. We can see here the little green light right here located on the Humane AI PIN essentially lets other people around you know that the camera is on and currently recording in case they might not feel comfortable with it. Humane wants to ensure that people know that they are currently being recorded in the moment, and that if the device is tampered with in any way, that it will require specific things or specific like help from the Humane AI team in order to fix it once more. So you cannot fix it yourself. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to take it to Humane and say, hey, I need this fixed, or hey, essentially say, hey, I need this fixed, or hey, my camera isn't working, or something like that. Now, thinking out loud is the thing that Humane AI really wants to do. It wants you to kind of get rid of all those devices and kind of simply use the computer that is located right on your chest. So here we have a great example of how Humane will look in the general public as well as wearing it. So as we can see here, the guy in the picture is wearing the pin on his jacket, and you can see that it's not that big. So essentially, it's very discreet and it it can blend into different articles of clothing and things of that nature. So Humane really wants to step into the world of you just dictating to the device what you want to know. And there are many cool features that come along with this device that we'll get into in a second. So the thinking out loud feature, and then we have the design to handle the simple and complex AI mic to essentially find what you're looking for. So that's what I mean when you're looking at different like items that you're holding. If you're looking at different fruits, a book, if you're looking at, let's say, something in front of you, Humane will let you know what that is using their cameras and using the computing power that they currently have. Now, here we can see a conversation that plays out that Humane is offering us as an example to what the device can do. So here we can see basically what the person is asking and then what the device prompts, as well as other features like how Humane can take photos as well. So we'll get into that in a second. But the cool thing about Humane is that you can actually see different text messages and different things of that nature through your hands. So essentially the way that this works is through lasers. So lasers will dictate onto your hand, if you hold it out in a certain position, what you want to know and what you want to read. So you'll have a home page, which will tell you the time, the weather, things of that nature, things that you customize it to. And then you can also say to your device, I want to read the text message that just came through. And you can hold out your hand and you can scroll through, just like we can see here, the text message or whatever you are reading right in front of you, right in your hand, which is a really cool feature. And the way that you use scrolling and kind of flipping in and out, back and forth, is through hand gestures. So if you were to close your hand, making a sort of like okay sign, that essentially does a wide variety of features. And then essentially with scrolling, it's just like moving your thumb up and down in order to scroll through what you want to read. At the same time, there are different things that you can do. So the Humane AI pin is very mindful of what you do. And I just got off the wrong thing. But it's very mindful of what you are trying to do with the pin. Shoot, I'm trying to go back. No, that's not what I want. It's very mindful of what you were trying to do, as well as other features that are built into the device. So other features that are built into the device can be essentially listening to text messages. Listening back to those text messages is really important. And now typically with other text message features, like if you were to search for a message using Apple's text message search feature, it would take you a long time to scroll through certain texts in order to find the text that you actually want. But with Humane, you could give it a prompt. You could say, tell me what my aunt wanted me to bring for Thanksgiving. And Humane would find that text message that highlighted what my aunt wanted me to bring for Thanksgiving. And it would tell me exactly what she said. And I could also prompt it, buy that online for me. And Humane will buy that certain item online for you, when you input that prompt to it. So if we go through here real fast, we can see more features. If I scroll quickly, it's taking me a minute. But the cool thing about this as well is that you can plan certain kind of text, you can plan certain kind of reminders, and also, since Humane partners with T-Mobile, you can also make phone calls. So the way that this works is there's a little speaker that is on top of the device that allows you to use your voice, and speak into the device while you're able to still hear it. So essentially, it creates a bubble of sound, whether you want it louder or whether you want it quieter. And also, the AI pin allows you to use headphones as well with it. So wireless earbuds are compatible with the Humane AI device. So here we can also see the text message feature that I was telling you guys about. So we can see that this person has a text message from this number, and it is telling them that they are outside. So you can see the text clearly in your hand, and you can make sure that you are keeping up to date with those text messages. If we were to continue on, you can get caught up on moments right in the minute. So essentially what a moment is you can kind of customize through AI's humane.center. You can customize exactly what you want to see, what times of day you want certain notifications, whether or not you're looking for something specific, and Humane will try to find that thing for you. So essentially what you could do with this is you could kind of customize things like Catch Me Up. So essentially what Catch Me Up does is it gives you a highlight of what kinds of text messages that you have or any calls that you need to make to specific people. So if I were to ask my Humane AI pin to catch me up, I would simply hit a button and I would say, catch me up. And then it would read all my text messages and other things of that nature in order to catch me up and keep me updated with everything that is going on in my life. So there's the catch me up feature. Essentially, it breaks down the kind of text messages that are being told, that are being texted to me. So here we have that. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but in order to see notifications, there is a blue light that shines on top of the device. So the blue light would essentially be above this yellow kind of oval. So the blue light would be up here, and it would flash anytime that you have a notification right there for you. So once again, here we can see a group chat that essentially says basically making reservations. That is a really easy way to kind of keep up to date with everything that is going on. And also, music is the big thing that they are trying to stress here, as well as other features. So things like music, where they have partnered with Tidal, which is a music browsing app, you can find different kinds of music that you are interested in. Or with the possibility of AI, you can get different kinds of generated music through that AI feature. So if I wanted a song written by Taylor Swift, but I didn't want Taylor Swift singing it, I could tell my Humane AI pin, give me a song that is written like Taylor Swift, but isn't performed by Taylor Swift. And Humane, using its AI features, will find a song for me and create a song for me that I can listen to, and I can and it'll try its best to recreate that song for me. So you can play hip hop songs that talk about skating, other things like that, or you can generate a hip hop playlist, and you can generate other different types of playlists that pique your interests. So if you're into classical music, you could create songs that sound like Beethoven but aren't Beethoven, and other things of that nature. So essentially here we have how the music feature will look in your hand. And continuing on here, we also have the other feature that I was talking about, which analyzes different things around you. So as we can see here, this woman is holding up dragon fruit. You can do this with virtually any object you are holding, and you can get a description on it, or you can see different kinds of like calories, protein, what's in the item, like different kinds of ingredients and other things of that nature, which is also an issue. You see, many people have been criticizing the recent publication of the Humane AI intro video due to the fact that the CEO was holding almonds that essentially didn't make up to the 15 grams of protein that he advertised. So there might be an issue there, but at the same time, it is still very cool to know kind of what you are eating and kind of the health benefits behind what you're eating. And once again, with those plans that I talked about, with that health and fitness plan that you can create, you can customize exactly what you want to eat in your day. And Humane will keep up with everything that you consume to meet your goals. So say that I am going on a keto diet, and I really want to make sure that I stay on that keto diet. If I were to have my Humane AI pin on me, I could say, okay, tell me if this meal is keto, tell me exactly what's in this meal, and tell me whether or not this meal reaches my goal of staying in keto. And essentially, Humane will give me a breakdown of what's inside that meal, what are the ingredients, and it'll also tell me whether or not I'm staying within my goal of being keto friendly. And also, it could tell me protein count, calorie count, and sodium count, and other things of that nature. So it'll help you track health and other things of that nature. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But yeah, if we were to scroll back down here, there are also things that through the camera function, you can analyze different objects, as I mentioned before, but you can also purchase different objects within everyday life. So I currently in front of me have a keyboard for my desktop computer. And if I were to go through and ask my Humane AI pin about the keyboard, it would give me a description about my keyboard. And then I could say, buy this item for me. And essentially what Humane will do is it will buy that item for me. It'll add it to my virtual shopping cart, which will essentially buy that item for me within the Humane AI Center. So the Humane AI Center is kind of the place where you go to kind of customize your device and other things that you are looking for in your day-to-day life. So here we have, once again, we have the health feature that I was talking about. So the sugar quantity inside of dragon fruit, that is what they're advertising here. All right, so here we can compose messages without having to use a keyboard, as I mentioned before with the text feature. So with the Humane AI pin, there's essentially a button where you just press it, you dictate whatever you want to say into the pin, and you can say, we see a prompt here. Essentially, you can say anything. So if I wanted to text, let's say I wanted to text my mom, I could press the pin and I could say, tell mom that I will be home at 8 p.m. and it'll play back the message to me. And then it would continue by prompting me, do you want to send this message? And I can say, yes, send this message. And that message will be sent to my mother without me actually having to type anything. So it'll also give you a preview. If you want to preview the text message that you have just dictated into the device, you can open your hand once more and you can get a look at the text message that you are about to send, and then you can send it manually through that feature with the AI laser. The really cool thing about the Humane AI pin is translating different languages back and forth. So essentially, what Humane is offering to the public is an easy way to kind of communicate with people around you. Let's say I was having a conversation with somebody from Greece, and I don't speak Greek myself, but they do. They speak Greek completely. With the Humane AI pin, essentially what I can do is I can say, translate this language into English, and then Humane will listen for that language that is being spoken, and then it will translate it back to me in English. And then from there, I can respond with my voice in English, and then it'll give that translation back to the person in the language that they are speaking. So that is a really cool feature with Humane, where you can kind of cut down barriers with people, because now you can actually listen to the different you can actually listen and talk to them rather than having that barrier of not knowing what each other are saying because of that language barrier that is present. So this is a really nice feature with Humane, because it now opens the door for other things such as business, journalism, simply having a conversation. Other things like that are super important. Let's say that I had a family member who only spoke Spanish, and let's say that I didn't necessarily speak a lot of Spanish and I didn't really understand it. That family member could talk to me in Spanish, I could hear the translation in English, and then I could respond back to them in Spanish using the Humane AI pin. That would be a really nice feature to have, especially for somebody, who travels a lot, ordering different types of foods at restaurants. This could be a really easy way for people to use the device in order to kind of get around different parts of the world without actually having to learn the language, but still having an enjoyable time in that part of the world that they're traveling to. So here we have the translation, that sort of thing. Also, with the Humane AI pin, there's the option of photo taking. So despite it being such a small device with such a small camera, it still has a 4K compatibility with the device that allows you to essentially take a look into what you are looking at the world around you. So you can record videos, you can take photos, and then you can also access these videos through the Humane AI Center, which is really a nice feature. So here we have people accessing their photos. We can see a whole photo album and everything like that. And everything belongs to you. Safety is the number one thing that they're trying to go for, especially because there's a camera always present. But they're always trying to make sure that your data remains safe. So now I will open up the floor to any questions that anybody might have in the chat. So if you just want to type any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Seeing as we have about 6 minutes left.
Hey, Brandon, this is Teddy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Teddy.
Hey, excellent overview of this. Thank you.
Yes.
Good information. I hadn't quite caught up on this. One question that comes to mind is how is this different from what Google Glass was doing? Is this sort of a Google Glass 2.0 where people were concerned, it kind of did some of that, but you have to sort of wear that and people were concerned about privacy. Is it a
Yes.
next iteration of that, kind of, maybe?
Yes. So that's what a lot of people have been talking about is the privacy
Oh,
features of this device. It's essentially kind of like Google Glass in that sense that people are very concerned about, the different types of uh, safety features that are involved that may seem a little bit sketchy, like always having a camera in your face. Humane does try to work around this by not having the camera always on, and the only way to turn on the camera is through the user's input. But it is kind of still something that people are trying to wrap their heads around using always having that camera there and present. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable with this. But it is kind of like the next stepping stone into what we're trying to do with AI, what the world is trying to do with AI, and how technology progresses forward.
yeah, I think I can see that maybe minus the general public for the seniors, if they were to have this becomes a, for lack of a better word, a virtual assistant for them,
Yeah.
available all the time. What about this? Can I eat this medicine? Can you call this? They don't have to fumble through a lot of things. Now, would it call somebody as well?
Yes, so the Humane AI pin has partnered with T-Mobile, so it does allow for call and text. And essentially, once you set up the device, it'll give you a phone number that you can use. And so rather than having to use complicated apps that people don't understand and that might be time consuming to, let's say, a senior, they can simply hold down a button and say, call my grandson, call my daughter, call my son, and they can get in contact with them as soon as possible. Or if they fall, it's also a really nice feature to have because the Humane AI pin would probably be on them. So if they fall, they could hit it and say, call 911, and they could just
Yeah,
dictate their problem to them right then and there.
yeah. I'm sort of curious if this is also a upgrade to the I forget the one that people have, help I've fallen. You wouldn't know, Brandon. Some of the seniors would
Yeah,
know that there's that
yeah.
pen. So that's I can see use cases for this in a lot of different functions. So that's really good. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Could we also talk a little bit about memory care? Patients, people with dementia. I mean, I think tracking those folks and tracking what they ate and, whether or not they took the medication and giving them reminders on time. I can see tons of use cases for seniors with different types of ailments, including, Teddy, what you brought up is fall detection and calling their, either their family or paid caregivers or even 911, depending on how bad the fall is.
Yes, and that is a really good point, how they can do that. So essentially what I have in front of me is kind of like the homepage of Humane Center. So Humane Center is essentially where you create these memories. You can also look at your photos and also your data. So essentially with creating different kinds of things, which they call notes, you can kind of customize the pin to exactly what you're looking for. So let's say a senior were to take a specific type of medicine that they need to take regularly. The Humane AI pin would prompt them through a note that a loved one could have set up for them. And it will let them know and remind them, hey, you need to take this medicine, or hey, this is what you need to eat in your day. And be sure to, eat this. Here are the health facts about it. You can ask the pin about it. And then if you really want, you can make those phone calls. You can remember things like birthdays. You can remember the last time you were outside. So let's say they had a pet, and they don't necessarily remember the pet, but they still have that pet with them. The Humane AI pin would allow a notification to be sent to them, essentially reminding them, "Hey, you need to take out the dog right now, because that is really important." So that would be something that a family member could set up for them, when they do buy the pin, and they can set it up through this Humane AI Center, which we have in front of us.
Would you know if the Humane AI is on the back end connecting to some LLM to process some of this information, or is it just simply a phone manifested into this with some sort of search engine behind this?
What it does have is it has kind of a bunch of different kinds of search engines. So it's partnering with a bunch of different kind of companies like Google, like Microsoft, other things of that nature. But at the same time, they're trying to create what they call AI experiences, which is their own form of kind of like collecting what you input and then bringing it back to you using their AI compatibility features, and the AI always trying to find different ways around certain solutions or around different problems to create certain solutions. So this device does kind of collect your data, but at the same time, it does want to keep that private to you. So you have the feature up here to kind of view your data, and exactly what you're inputting into it.
Well, even Google collects our data, so
Yeah.
Is this made by, is this an Elon Musk company?
It's
You
not
don't
an
know.
Elon Musk company. It's
Okay.
it's its own kind of company,
Okay.
which they have spent years trying to develop this AI pin.
Okay. No worries. This is and they haven't quite come up with use cases. Sorry, they haven't commercialized. They're at this point in time strictly providing the pin and letting this use cases or solutions build on it, I guess. So
Yes. So essentially what will happen is the sales launch tomorrow. So essentially when everybody's putting in their orders, and then once they finally get the device, that's when the AI will start building up its own catalog of different kinds of things that it can use later on for other users who buy that device later.
interesting.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, I
Yeah, I
guess
think I just kind of want to summarize like how this AI can help patients with dementia, because there's so many use cases that that this pen can be used for. Like you said, like recognition, people can set up facial recognition to help, the patients with dementia recognize their, family members or their caregivers to kind of, help them reduce some of the confusion and anxiety. It can also, be programmed to recognize, safe areas or predetermined routes for patients with dementia. That way, family members or caregivers can make sure that they're at the right location and they can, quickly find out if they're not and bring them back to safety. And then also, like you said, setting up reminders for them about their daily activities, their medication, their meals and appointments, and then kind of also helping them with navigation, kind of directing them to get to where they want to get. If they want to get to somebody, somebody familiar or somewhere new, AI can guide them through that. And then it can also, I think, help with communication aids. So if, the dementia patients, if they have, struggle with speech or language due to their condition, this AI will be able to help with that. And then, like you said, also the emergency assistance, I think that'll be big when it, can detect the falls, and then, it can ask for help by just using the patient's voice. So it's really exciting what, can be done with this AI pen.
It's very exciting what it can do. All right. Are there any other questions out there?
No, this was interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Shah.
Yes.
Thank you, Teddy.
All right, so we'll end it here. So once again, my name is Brandon Faulkner. I'm an intern for VillageCore. For other events like this, be sure to check out villagecore.org or check out our YouTube channel in case you miss one of these meetings. Thanks so much for watching.